Sorry guys, I did not kept my microphone turned on. Okay, I am extremely sorry. Thanks for reminding me. Good. So here we started concept called functions. We'll discuss function concept in today's class. And here, before going to the function, the major purpose of functions is in your programming language. If the same logic is repeated for multiple times, to avoid multiple times writing a same logic, here we'll be having functions concept. Please keep your microphones in mute mode. Neeraj, mute them. What are you doing? Good, perfect. Now here what I'll do is, here I'm writing the code for NCR. See, the formula for NCR will be n factorial by n minus r factorial into r factorial. N factorial by n minus r factorial into r factorial. Okay, it's the formula for NCR. Now here I want to implement a code for it. So to write a code for it, initially I want to define nf, that is n factorial, nrf, that is n minus r factorial, rf, r factorial, which is I'm defining all this equals to 1. After that, here I want to define a for loop. Yeah, before that, here we need to enter n value and r values, right? So here I want to take n value like an user defined value. So here I'm saying int of input of enter n. Okay, so after that, here we need to enter r value, int of input of. So here enter r. So here we need to enter n and r values, and here always r value should be less than n value. R value should be less than n value. So for that, I'm keeping this condition, though you won't find this in any programming class everywhere. So if you go anywhere, you won't find this one, but I'm adding this thing additionally. Like here, I'm considering condition like always n should be greater than or equals to r. Okay, n should be greater than or equals to r. I'm considering this condition. Whenever this condition is satisfied, I need to calculate n factorial first. To calculate n factorial, here what I am doing is I'm saying for I in range of 1 comma number plus 1. So here I want to calculate n factorial first. So for that, here what I'll do is nf into equals to I. It's a simple logic. So what I'm saying, nf equals to nf into I. See, nf into equals to I, it is nothing but nf equals to nf into I. See here, what happens here? See here, it will consider I value, it will start with 1. N plus 1 means it will go still number. See, factorial of the number means, let's suppose if you take 5 factorial, which is nothing but 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. That's it, right? So here also I'm doing same thing. N factorial means it will give n factorial. After that, here again, I
So
want to
when it
calculate
goes from 1 to 5, it's just 1 to n, no, sir.
1 to n. See, to include n, here I'm saying n plus 1, right? See here, if you write this thing in this way, or else you can write in this way also. N comma 0 minus step size equals to minus 1. It is exact factorial, like 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, right? It is an exact one. But to avoid writing the step size, I wrote in a positive way. Like, see, if you want to calculate 5 factorial, 1 into 3 into 4 into 5 equals to 5 into 4 into 3 into 5, right? Sorry, 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, right? How many are familiar with it?
Yes, sir.
Yes. See, yeah, whatever the approach you want to follow, you can follow that. But to avoid confusion, initially I wrote like that. So you can use either of the ways. Now here what I do is I want to take one more loop. I'll say for I in, again I'll take with I, nothing will happen. Range of, who is that playing the music? Hmm, good, perfect. Yeah. So here I'm saying for I in range of, now I want to calculate R factorial. To calculate R factorial, here we need to take values in the range of 1 to R plus 1. So in this way, we'll get an R factorial. Please don't do this kind of nonsense. I told you a lot of times. So please don't check my patience. If you have any questions, you can ask me. I'll very free to answer you all your questions. See here, I need to calculate R factorial. So now R factorial into equals to I. Now it will store R factorial in it. After that, again, we need to calculate n minus R factorial. So for that, I'm saying for I in range of 1 comma. So here I need to say n minus R plus 1. Okay. See here, we need to say NRF into equals to I. See here, if you observe keenly here, what I'm doing, I'm writing same logic. In the 3 cases, I wrote same logic and same for loop. Here I consider loop. See here in this loop, I specified n comma 0 comma minus 1. Same loop, guys. Kapote, see what I did is, here I took negative step size, whereas in these 2 cases, I took positive step size. So by default, it will be take positive step size. To avoid confusion, what I'll do is here also I'll keep a positive step size only. 1 comma number plus 1 comma. Yeah, that's it. Now finally we'll get a result, right? So what is the result? Sorry. Result will be, yeah. Says result equals to print of. See here I will print in a format specifier approach. F of, yeah, first I need to print f value, sorry, n value, n. After that I need to display c. After c I want to display r value. In this bracket I need to display r value equals to, I need to display the result which is present in, yes, I'll specify this entire thing in a bracket. Yeah, nf n factorial by uh, nrf, that is n minus r factorial, into rf, that is r factorial. Okay, perfect. I want to get this thing in a result. Now I'm running this portion. So it's asking me to connect without GPU. I'm connecting without GPU. Yes, here we got an error for I double times we specified I. Yes, it is asking n value. I'm giving 5. It's asking R value 2. Yes, 5C2, which is nothing but 10 only. If you want to calculate, you can calculate. It's the program. Why I wrote this program is, next you need to solve this program by using functions. After finishing types of the function, you need to solve this problem. Okay. Now here, I want to define a function with the, see, whenever you want to define a function, we need to use def keyword. After that, we need to specify function name. And in the parentheses, whatever the parameters you want to pass, you can pass those parameters. And whatever the parameters you are specifying in a function definition, those are said as default arguments. So whatever the parameters you specify in a function definition, those are said as formal or dummy parameters. Okay, so here I'm specifying formal or dummy parameters. Without this formal or dummy parameters also, we can define a function. Without these parameters also, we can define a function. And the next here I'm specifying statement. Whatever the statement you want to specify in a function, you can specify that statements or statements. And finally, if you want to specify return statement, you can specify return statement. So if you want to specify a statement or return statement here, you can specify return statement. But it is an optional one. If you won't specify return statement also, it will give you an output. So till this portion, this is said as function definition, guys. So till this portion, till this return statement, it will be said as function definition. So after defining this function, we need to call this function. So whenever you want to call this function, we need to specify function name. And here we need to specify parameters. So it is a calling function. So whenever you call this function, guys, here you need to specify the parameters, or here whatever the parameters you are specifying here, those are said as actual or real parameters. Coming to this parameters, you'll face an interview question like here it is a very important question. The difference between parameters and verse arguments. What is the difference between parameters and arguments? It is a question. So for that, I'll give you a very simple explanation. That is, so if you specify, see, if you specify some values or some parameters in a function definition, those are said as parameters. If you specify some values in a function definition, those are said as parameters. Same thing if you specify in a calling function, those are said as arguments. If you specify some argument, something in a function definition, function call, those are said as arguments. If you specify some values in a function definition, those are said as parameters. So we can see, but widely we'll use parameters in both the cases. But if anyone asks you like this, simple answer. So if you specify something in function definition, those are said as parameters. If you specify something in a calling function, those are said as arguments. That's a simple explanation. Yeah, we'll see few programs, guys. Coming to the functions, we'll see few programs. So coming to the first, yeah, here whenever you want to define a function, we need to start with def keyword. Now here I want to define a function with the name Vishmi. Here I don't want to specify any parameters. It means this kind of functions are said as. So if you are defining a function without parameters, is said as which kind of functions? Non-parametric function. If function won't contain any parameters, such kind of functions are said as non-parametric functions. So here it is a non-parametric function. In this, what I'll do is I'll specify one print statement. In this, what I'll write is hello, good evening. I'm writing hello, good evening. So here it is my function definition. I'm defining function with the name Vishmi. So here I'm running this portion. Whenever you want to execute this function, we need to call this function. See, here it is function definition. Now here I'm saying Vishmi simply. So whenever you say this thing, Vishmi, whenever you say Vishmi, it will call the above function and it will give the output which is present in this function block. So whenever you call this function, it will go here and it will execute this program. And whatever the statement present here, it will give that thing in an output. Now here, I want to define a function with at least one parameter. Now in this, I'll specify parameter like some a. After that, here I'll specify output like print good evening, comma a. So here it is my function definition, guys. Okay, now I want to call this function. So whenever you want to call this function, we need to call with the function name. In this function, now we need to specify a parameter. So here, if you don't specify any parameter, you will get an error. See, remember how many parameters you are having in a function definition. That many parameter you should specify while calling that function. Otherwise, it will give you an argument missing error. Okay. Now here, what I'll do is simply I'll say, see here, I need to specify at least one parameter. Now here, what I'll do is I'll say wish me off, in this function, what I'll do is I'll write my name. Let's suppose I'm writing Jakub. So whenever I write my name, it won't give any error. See, whenever you specify at least one argument in it, so it will be considered as final value of a. See, it is considering as actual value of a, and this value will be passed to this function. Good evening. Here a replaced with my name. So that's why whatever the parameter you are specifying in a calling function, those are said as actual or real parameters. And whenever you specify some parameter or argument in a function definition, those are said as formal or dummy parameters. So to make you familiar with that, see whether why will we say that thing as a dummy parameter. Yeah, what I do is, yeah, good. In this function itself, I'll say a equals to RGKT. I'm saying RGKT. So after this, now I'm running this portion. So whenever you run this portion, now it won't throw any error. Now it won't throw any error. Why means here, if you don't specify any arguments, here by default, it will be considered a value like RGKT. And based on this value, it will give you an output. So now here it will give you an output. Okay. So whenever you run this portion, here you will get output like this. So here in the output, good evening RGKT, you are getting output like this. Now, what I will do is here I'm specifying one parameter in a function. So whenever you specify some argument or parameter in this function, by default, it will be considered as value of that variable. So here, if you specify some parameter or argument here, if you specify some parameter or argument value in a function definition as well as function call, here it will give more priority to the parameter present in a function call. That's why these are said as actual or real parameter. And these are said as dummy or formal parameters. For formality purpose, we'll pass some parameters in a function definition. Okay. Now here types of functions. Sorry for the interruption. I got a call. Okay, good. So here types of functions. So here based on arguments, functions are divided into 5 types, guys. So here those are first one are said as, so based on argument, functions are divided into 5 types. First one are said are default or positional arguments. Sorry, first one are is required or positional arguments. Required or positional arguments. And second kind of arguments are default or default arguments only. Then next will be having keyword arguments. After that we'll be having variable length arguments. After that we'll be having keyword variable length arguments. So here next we'll be having keyword variable length arguments. These are the different kinds of functions based on arguments. See here, whatever the thing we saw above, that is default arguments. So here, whatever the thing we said here, it is said as default arguments. So coming to the default arguments definition, if we specify some argument or parameter value in a function definition, those are said as default arguments. If you specify some parameters or argument values in a function definition, those are said as default arguments. To make you clear with this entire stuff, what I'll do is here I'll take a basic example. See here, I'll create one box here, code box. Yeah, here I'll take one example. Now here I want to define a function with the name subtraction. In this, I want to specify two formal parameters like here a comma b. After specifying two parameters, here what I do is, here I'll specify c equals to a minus b, And finally, I want to return C. Finally, I want to return C. So it is my function definition, guys. After this, we need to call this function. So here, whenever you want to call this function, we need to call with the function name. And here, how many parameters we specified in a function definition, that many values we need to pass in a function call. Otherwise, it will give you a missing arguments error. Let's suppose here only, if I only pass a value, only one argument in it. See here, if you pass only one argument, it is giving error like missing one required positional argument B. Let's suppose here I'll say subtraction of, here I will specify 3 parameters, 1 comma 2 comma 3. Here, whenever you specify extra arguments also, it will give you an error. Subtraction function takes 2 positional arguments, but 3 were given. It's giving this kind of error. So here, coming to the positional or required arguments are nothing but how many parameters present in a function definition, that many parameters only we need to pass in a function call. See here, how many parameters present in a function definition, that many parameters only we need to specify in a function call. Otherwise, it will give us an error. Like so if you specify less arguments, it will give you missing arguments. If you specify extra argument were given. Such kind of error you will get. So here, that's about required or positional argument. So now, how many arguments we need to specify here? We need to specify 2 arguments. In the subtraction function now, I'll specify 2 comma 3. So whenever you specify 2 comma 3, so whatever the value you are specifying at the first location, that will be considered as A value. By default, first position argument will be considered as first position value, which is present in a function definition. And second position value will be considered as B value. So here, whenever you call this function, it will goes to the function definition and it will execute that function. So in this function definition, you can see clearly here we specified, here. Yeah, good. In this, what I did, see here I said subtraction of A comma B. So whenever you call this function, whatever the argument or value specified the first location, that will be considered as A value, and whatever the value specified the second location, that will be considered as B value. And these two will be processed through this function, and it will be stored. The result will be stored in C, and here we are returning the result. So returning the result means we are using return statement. So it's about a positional or required argument. Now, see here, I want to avoid missing arguments problem. So for that, what I'll do is I'll copy paste same function here. I'll copy paste same function here. Now, while copy pasting same function here, what I'll do is here I'll specify some parameter value here. So here, now initially I'll specify. See here, what I'm doing is here I'm saying A comma B equals to 10. Okay. Now here I'm specifying some argument or parameter value while defining the function only. Now, if you want to call this function, if you specify only one argument, by default, it will be considered B value like 10. By default, it will be considered B value like 10. And whenever it considers B value like 10, and here A minus B, that is 12 minus 10, which is nothing but 2. It's giving 2 as an output. So here it is said as default argument. If you specify some argument or parameter value in a function definition, such kind of things are said as default arguments. Such kind of things are said as default arguments, guys. After this, here what I'll do is, yeah, good. Now what I'll do is here, let's suppose what happens if you specify value of A here. So it's a very important interview question. What happens if you keep some argument value in a function definition at the first location? Remember, guys, whenever you want to specify values of the parameter, see here, you'll get an error like positional arguments should follow, non-default arguments should follow default arguments. See here, whenever you want to perform assignment operation, whatever the value you are assigning, that should be present at the last. See, any questions to anyone? Yeah, 161095. Yeah, Neeraj, you can meet him. Yeah, good. Thank you. So please, you need to take care of it. Okay, you're not a kids. Good, perfect. Now here what I am doing is, so whenever you want to specify one argument value in a function definition, if it is not present at a first location, see here, if you want to specify some default argument, that should be present at a second position. Like here, if you let's suppose if you want to specify a value, you should specify a value here and you should specify only b here. Otherwise, you will get an error like non-default argument follows default arguments. Okay, you should follow the order. See here, if you want to define a function like this, you need to specify b value in front of it. Here you need to, sorry, here you need to specify b value, and here in this way you want to specify. Like if you want to specify a value as a default argument, you need to specify a parameters in this fashion. Otherwise, you will get an error. It's about a default arguments. Non-default arguments should always follow default arguments. So that's about the thing. If you specify 12 here, this 12 will be considered as b value and a value will be 10 by default. 10 minus 12, which is nothing but minus 2. You are getting minus 2 as an output. Now here, next kind of arguments are, see here, I won't kept heading anywhere. See here, it's about, I'll keep heading now onwards at least. These are default arguments. And coming to the above, so here this a and b are said as positional arguments. These are said as positional or required arguments. You'll be you have an error here, right? From this you can understand easily. So after that, here we'll be having keyword arguments. Yeah. So now what I'll do is, here I'll say, see, whenever you call this function now onwards, so whatever the value you specified the first location, that will be considered as b value, and whatever the value you specified the second location, that will be considered as a value. But I don't want to follow this way. Like whatever the value I specified the first location, that should be considered as a value, and whatever the value I specified the second location, that should be considered as a value. To consider values on that fashion, here we'll be having keyword arguments. See, if you want to specify same argument at a desired position, we can specify in this fashion. Like here, I'm specifying a equals to 14, comma b equals to 54. In this way, you can specify. So here, in whatever the order you specify the argument names here, on that order, it will be considered in a function definition. These are said as keyword arguments. If you specify some parameter values by using their function definition name, default name, those are said as keyword arguments. In a simple words, we can say, if you specify some argument values in a function call by specifying their name, those are said as keyword arguments. So whatever the argument it might be a default, positional, or required argument, keyword argument. We are getting a problem. Like here, how many parameters we are having in a function definition? That many parameters we should specify in a function call. Otherwise, we'll get an error. To avoid that problem, here we'll be having these things. That is variable length arguments. We'll be having variable length arguments. So coming to this variable length arguments, now here we'll be having specific syntax for this variable length arguments. So in this, whatever the argument you want to specify, you should specify that thing with asterisk. So here I'm specifying argument with an asterisk. After this, here what I'll do is, after specifying this thing with the asterisk, here I want to write my statement. Now initially what I'll do is, I want to print data type of A. I want to print data type of A. After that, I want to print a content present in A. See, remember guys, whenever you want to define a function with a variable length arguments, we need to specify variable length argument with the asterisk in a function definition. Okay, now what I'll do is, here it is my function definition. Now I want to call this function. See, while defining the function, I use a function name like vlen. Now I want to specify the parameters in this function. Let's suppose I'm specifying parameters like 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it giving any error? It's not giving any error. It means by using variable length arguments, we can take any number of arguments while calling this function. Though if you specify 100 parameters, 10 parameters, 20 parameters, it won't give you any error. By default, whenever you define a function with a variable length argument, that is with asterisk, it will be considered data type as a tuple. It will be considered all the values in a tuple. And here on this tuple, we can perform any operation. Now, what I want to do is, whatever the parameters I specify in a function call, I need to perform addition between all the parameters. Whatever the parameters I specify in a function call, I want to perform addition between all the parameters. So for that, what I'll do is, here I'll say, see here, I want to define a function with a add, with the name add, I'm defining a function. See here, I'm defining variable length argument, or function with variable length argument. I'm saying asterisk of b. So here, after that, here, initially I need to say sum equals to 0. And here, as you're already familiar with how to iterate through the tuple and list. Now, I want to iterate through this tuple for I in B. We stored this tuple in, we are storing this tuple in B. That's why I need to iterate through B. So for that, I'm saying for I in B. So after saying for I in B, I want to perform some operation. So here I need to say sum plus equals to I. So here I'm saying sum plus equals to I. After saying this sum plus equals to I, finally, after executing this entire portion, I want to return sum as an output. So finally, whatever the result present in a sum, I want to return that thing in an output. So it's about my function definition. Now, what I'll do is I want to call this function. See, whenever you want to call this function, yeah, here we can specify any parameters. Whatever the parameters you want, you can specify that parameter. So here I'm specifying first 10 natural numbers. Sum of first 10 natural numbers will be 50 only, right? So here it is 50 only. We are getting that thing in an output. We are getting that thing in an output. It's about variable length arguments. So by using variable length arguments, you can perform any operations easily as well. So whenever you define a function with a variable length arguments, you can specify any number of parameters while calling that function. That is the major that is the major advantage of variable length argument, guys. After that, we'll be having keyword variable length arguments. Okay, last kind of arguments are keyword variable length arguments. Keyword variable length arguments. So coming to this keyword variable length arguments, so if you specify something in a double asterisk, if you specify something with a double asterisk, that will be said as keyword variable length arguments. Here, see, we'll see how to specify this keyword variable length argument. Here we'll say def function name. In this, we'll specify asterisk asterisk of a. Here it is the syntax of defining keyword variable length arguments. And after this, here we need to specify this thing. After specifying this stuff, what I'll do is simply I'll specify type of a. First, I want to print type of a. See, by default, whenever you define a function with a keyword variable length arguments, data type will be considered in the form of dictionary. And finally, I want to print the dictionary. Print a. So here it is my function definition. After defining this function, what I will do is simply, yeah, good. I want to call this function. So whenever you want to call this function, we can say function name. After saying this function name, simply we can specify the parameters. See here, whenever you want to specify parameters, you can specify variable name and value to that function. We need to specify variable name and value to that function. And I'll say c equals to 76, and whatever the variables and whatever the values you want to specify, you can specify that. It's an error. We should not define variable like this, like 0, 9. Integer should not start with a 0. So here, whenever you specify some arguments or parameters in this fashion, see here it is considering data type as a dictionary, and whatever the variables you specify here, those will be considered as keys and whatever the values you assign to those variables, those will be considered as values. That's why these are said as keyword variable length arguments. So these are the different types of functions. Now what we'll do is we'll try to do the NCR program by using function. We'll try to resolve that program. And before that, we'll see the types of functions. We'll see the types of functions. So coming to the types of functions, we'll be having majorly we'll be having only two types of functions. See, please keep your microphones in mute mode. Who is ID number 1878? Yeah, thank you. Thanks for keeping your microphone in mute mode. Okay, good, perfect. Now what I'll do is here we'll see the types of function, guys. Actually, we need to discuss this thing at the starting of the session, but I'm discussing after finishing the concept. Now here coming to the function, we'll be having coming to the major categories, we'll be having only two types. First one is a built-in functions. First type of functions are built-in functions. So coming to this built-in functions, whatever the functions we saw till, like a type function, list function, int function, char function, ORD function, such kind of functions are said as built-in functions. It is nothing but the functions which you will get with the software itself. Those are said as built-in functions. So whatever the functions you'll get with the software, those are said as built-in functions. And coming to the next, here we'll be having user-defined functions. Second type of functions are user-defined functions. Coming to the user-defined functions, based on your requirement, if you develop any function, such kind of functions are said as user-defined functions. Based on our requirement, if we design some function, such kind of functions are said as user-defined functions. So based on developer requirement, if developer develops some code by using functions, that every function will be said as user-defined function only. Now here coming to the brief categorization, we'll be having one more kind of function also, that is customized functions. So here these customized functions are similar to this built-in functions only, but these customized functions won't come up with the software directly. This won't come up with the software directly. So here we need to install these functions from a internet, like from Google. We need to download these libraries. So whenever you download some library from internet, such kind of functions are said as customized functions. So the best examples for customized functions are, we'll be having few modules and few libraries. I'll explain you that stuff later. Okay. So here we'll be having different terminology, guys. So if you move up into the course, we'll see few terms like a program. That is, as you're already familiar with the program. See here, function. After this function, the collection of functions will be said as module. Collection of modules will be said as package. Collection of packages will be said as library. You should be familiar with these terms, guys. Okay, you should be familiar with these terms. Initially, you need to understand what these terms contributing actually. So here for that, I'll explain you basics like function. See here, whatever the program you are writing here, that is said as function. Coming to the module, in the same location, if you write more than one function, at same location, if you write more than one function, such kind of functions are said as modules. So here in a simple words, we can say module is nothing but collection of functions. So the definition for module will be, definition of this thing will be collection of functions. Collection of functions. So here coming to this module definition, one module may contain only one function or more than one function. One module may contain one function or more than one function. It means from this we need to understand that if you write any function in the Python, that function will be considered in the form of module. So whatever the program you write in a Python, that will be considered as a module. Okay, that's about module. So collection of functions is said as a module. One module may contain one function or more than one function. It depends. Based on our requirements, we can develop a function in a different ways. See, module in a different ways. And coming to the next, we'll be having term called package. So coming to the package, the technical definition for package will be is a folder. It is a folder which contains modules. Which contains modules. See again, folder might contain one module or more than one modules. It may contain one module or more than one module. So whatever the thing it might be, if some program present in some folder, that will be said as a package. If some program present in a folder, that will be said as a package. Okay. And coming to the next term, we'll be having a library. So the meaning of library is here. It is nothing but it is similar to our college library only. See, if you go to the college library, there we can see the different shelves or different parts in a library. Like so for the ECE will be having one library, for computer science will be having one library. Like that for the different branches will be having unique shelves or different libraries. So here the major purpose of library is for specific application. For specific application, by combining few modules or packages, will keep all the things at same location for specific application. That is said as library. So here library is nothing but collection of see, this terminology should be very important to you. Like what is about see, you need to understand these terms at least. Okay, collection of modules or packages for specific application. Collection of modules or packages for specific application will club modules and packages, that is said as library. That is the definition for library. So to make you familiar with all this stuff, to make you understand all this stuff, I'll take very simple example. Let's suppose you'll take your notebook as a best example. You'll take one textbook, better. Take one textbook as an example. So here, if you consider textbook, on the textbook will be having different pages. In the textbook, will be having different pages. So here I'm considering first page, one side of the page only. So if you consider one side of the page, that page may contain passages. That page may contain passages. It may contain only one passage or more than one passage. So here, see, if you consider each and every paragraph as a function, if you consider on the page, if you consider each and every paragraph as a function, so that page may contain only one paragraph or more than one paragraph. So here function is nothing but paragraph, module is nothing but collection of paragraphs, that is nothing but one side of the page, and here folder is nothing but book, which is containing lot of pages. So initially it will be present in the form of closed form only, right? So here package is nothing but book. And coming to the library, this book present in a shelf in a specific application like computer science branch, that is a library. And here in our next class we'll see very briefly like how to create any module, how and what will be the backend code present at built-in modules, like how what will be the backend code present at math module, random module, like that. We'll see few important built-in modules in the next class. After discussing few built-in modules, after that what I'll do is I'll take you into the advanced Python directly. And in between, while going before going to the advanced Python, I'll cover few programs coming to the placement perspective, which kind of programs might be asked in an exam, and how you should be clear and how you should be practiced with that. For that, to give just a awareness purpose, I'll take one session. That might be I might take that session at any time, but it's not inside this course. Okay. In the next class, I'll explain you like how to create these models kind of thing and how to use these models kind of thing. And coming to the next, we'll be having lot of advantages of these functions. We'll be having several unique functions to perform specific operation. And here in the Python, we'll be having one function, that is a lambda function. So here this lambda function is also said as anonymous function. Here, see, we did not saw a lot of examples corresponding to these functions. And for you, the assignment is for today, for you assignment is try to do that NCR program by using function. Try to do that NCR program by using function. Remember guys, please try to practice whatever the program we did till by using functions. So in a competitive exams or everywhere you go, they'll ask you to write a program with functions only. Okay. So coming to the lambda function, we'll see regarding lambda function now. So this lambda function is said as anonymous function, guys. It is said as anonymous function. The purpose of this lambda function is, see here, you might be familiar with the nested condition and nested loops. So coming to the nested functions, inside the function, if you write one more function, it will become very complex to understand that thing. It will become very complex to trace the program. To avoid that complexity, here we'll be having lambda function. So if you use lambda function, in a single line, we can define a function. So here what I'll do is, to make you understand this thing, here initially I'll write the syntax of the lambda function. So whenever you want to define a lambda function, we need to use word lambda. Sorry, spelling mistake. Lambda. Yes, I specify lambda. So after specifying lambda, here we need to specify parameters. First, we need to specify parameters. After specifying parameters with the colon, we need to specify expression. Here we need to specify expression. After specifying this expression, here whenever you want to evaluate this function, we need to specify this thing in a one variable. We need to store this thing in a some variable. Here I'm saying variable. So now whenever you want to call this function, here we can say variable of actual parameters, actual or real parameters. Here it is the syntax of lambda function. Now to make you understand this lambda function, I'll create one shell at the bottom in a code block. Here I'll define L equals to lambda of, I'll say x comma y, and I need to perform addition between x comma y. So here I'll say x plus y. After this, here we'll be having, so I want to specify the parameters in the function. Let's suppose if I specify 3 comma 4. So whenever you specify values as 3 comma 4, it will evaluate this lambda function. It will evaluate this lambda function and it will give the output corresponding to this lambda function. So it's about the thing. So here, if you say L of 3 comma 4, it's giving output like 7. It's about lambda function, guys. Okay. In tomorrow's class, I'll explain you a lot of additional programs corresponding to this function. And I'll explain you at least at 10 to 15 programs by clubbing everything. And here I'll explain you a few advanced functions like map function, filter function will be having. See how to perform operations easily on the data structures by using functions. For that, we'll be having map and filter functions. We'll see that stuff tomorrow. And tomorrow we'll start session at 5 o'clock so that I'll take longer session. At least I'll take a 1.5 hour session so that it will be very comfortable to me to cover entire core Python. Okay. Thank you. With this, I'm concluding for today.